Hi, good morning. My name is Josh Romero. I'm one of the maintainers and developers of OpenSearch dashboards. I'm a front-end engineer at Amazon. Today, we don't have any signups for the office hour slots. So the demo I'm going to give is kind of a overview of how visualization colors work in OpenSearch dashboards, how they can be customized, and where the various settings are for doing that. And as a reminder, this office hours session is every other week on Thursdays, and we're here to kind of help answer any dashboards development questions you may have. So one of the things that is really kind of interesting challenge for dashboard development is that we've inherited a lot of different visualization plugins. And so there's actually a lot of variation in how visualizations work. As we'll see today, there's no one way to set color across all visualization types. But hopefully this demo will also help provide a little bit of context of what are the different types of visualizations, how do they work, what settings affect them, and so on. So to make it a little easier, one of the things that I've done recently is added a new sample dashboard to the weblogs sample data. So by installing that here, now if we go to dashboards, there's this new visual consistency dashboard. This is really helpful for us as we're doing new theming to be able to see every type of visualization all on one dashboard so that we can start to bring the colors and styles and format of all these different visualization types more closely together. So that's really the purpose of this dashboard, but it's also really a good place to go to kind of see what are the default behaviors of our various visualizations. So as you can see, this dashboard is kind of arranged by different types of visualizations. Each section, you'll see several different variations. The reason for that, again, is that there's, in dashboards today, many different ways to do the same thing. So, for example, doing a metric like this, this is actually done through 4 different visualization tools, and you can get kind of the same sort of result. Same thing with these other charts. In the line chart, for an example, this is the same line chart represented by 5 different visualization tools. So a brief overview of what those are. When you go to create a new visualization, you'll see a menu of things to choose from. Some of these are visualization type, like area or line or vertical bar. Any of these that are a specific type of chart are built with the what's called VizLib, and that's kind of the legacy visualization system in dashboards. And then there's several other visualization systems that are not specific to a chart type. So that includes Vega, the newest visualization tool that we've been working on, which is called VizBuilder, Timeline, and TSVB. So again, if you go to create create visualization and go to Vega, Vega is a really general purpose tool that allows you to make almost any type of visualization. VizBuilder is a nice drag and drop tool that has several of these chart types supported. Same with TSVB. Its focus is primarily on time series visualizations, which is very similar to Timeline. The difference between Timeline and TSVB is Timeline is more of an expression builder where by chaining together text, you can create visualizations, whereas TSVB is more of a drag and drop experience. So there's a lot of different ways to create visualizations in dashboards, which can be kind of confusing. And that's why we have this new dashboard, kind of put them all in one place. So those are all the visualization types. Because this is in the sample data set, this is also a great way to explore how you can do kind of the same visualization tasks with these different tools. But today we're really interested in colors and how colors are set. So one thing that you'll notice is that in some of these, the colors seem very similar, and in others, they're different. So we'll talk a little bit about why that's the case, and also how to customize them in each of these tools. So first, let's start with where the colors come from. So in prior to the last couple of months, each of these visualization types kind of had their own different color system for categorical colors. So when we talk about categorical colors, we're talking about colors that allow you to indicate a data series. For example, in this case, there's just one data series, which is average bytes. In these area charts, there are 6 different data series based on the extension. And so each one is kind of visualized with a different color. Same here with these response values. There's different color data series. So in categorical color palettes, what we really want is to be able to easily visually distinguish between the different series. So here in the extension, you can kind of see there's a green, a pink, and a blue. And they make it easy to kind of see those different colors together. The other type of color palette you have in visualizations is quantitative. And here, for example, in the heat maps, we see 2 different quantitative scales. In quantitative scales, you usually have a color gradient where particular values are mapped to either shades or different colors. So this is a monochrome color scale in this heat map that goes from basically white to a dark green. This is a dual colors quantitative scale that goes from kind of yellow to dark blue. And these maps are another example of quantitative scales. So one of the things that we've been doing to better consolidate the colors and making them more consistent between the different visualizations is we're making sure they all reference color palettes from OUI, which is our UI library, and also kind of encodes our design system for OpenSearch dashboards. So from this page, you can see in OUI, we define some categorical color palettes. And that's these 10 colors here. You can also see there's a few quantitative palettes down here that you can use for things like where you need to map values to colors. So these are the source of truth for the colors that are used in dashboards. We've been doing some work to make sure that that's the case. But then different visualization libraries still kind of apply those colors a bit differently. That's probably out of scope of what we're going to talk about today, because now we're going to talk about, okay, beyond the default colors that are used to kind of set these, if I'm a user that wants to set my own colors or bring my own customizations, how can I do that? So the ones I'm going to start with first are probably what's most familiar to most users, which is the legacy VisLib visualizations. You can tell that currently VisBuilder also uses the VisLib rendering library because it has all the same options. So today, when we're talking about VisLib visualizations, everything we talk about will also apply to VisBuilder. Okay, so the first way to change color on these visualizations is by actually clicking the legend. That brings up a legend color picker. So we can easily just pick one of the other colors here. It instantly updates the chart to that color, and that seems pretty cool. However, this is a little bit misleading because this change will not persist. Right now, we're just on the view mode of a dashboard. So if we refresh this dashboard, we'll see that color change that we selected in the legend will go away. It will disappear. Yeah. So we made that orange selection, but it didn't actually stay. So one of the things that I'm going to do just to kind of make this a little bit easier to see is I'm going to go ahead and do some rearranging here. I'm actually going to just pull this one up above the line, I think. Okay, so one interesting thing to understand about colors is that when we add visualizations to dashboards, it's an interesting type of relationship because there are some properties that apply to these specific instance of that visualization that is embedded on the dashboard. And then there are others that are inherent to the visualization itself. So it's actually possible to add multiple instances of the same visualization to a single dashboard. So if I want to search for this existing visualization, I can add a second version of it, a second instance, and then just for good measure, I'm going to add one more. So now let me pull this up to the top line, and you'll see in a second why I wanted to do this. So all three of these panels are fetching data from the exact same visualization. So if we went to edit visualization, each of these would take us through the exact same place. But they also are their own panels within this dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And because they're their own panels, that means you can do some customizations on them. For instance, you could change, if we go back to edit mode, even though they're all the same visualization, we could give them different panel titles. So I could say a different panel title. And you can see that that only updates this first panel and not these others, even though they have the same underlying data. The same thing, the same principle kind of applies to the color selection. So if we're in edit mode and we, let's pick a purple for this first visualization, you can see that it only affects this panel here and not these other panels that are the same visualization. One of the things that's a little confusing is when we're in edit mode for a dashboard, any changes that we make are actually encoded into the URL. And so if we were to inspect this color value that we did, let me pull in my inspector here, we can see that there's a data test subject that helps us here and says that the hex value that we picked is this 9170B8. And that is actually, that color selection is actually right here in the URL. So if we now, even though we haven't saved this change to the dashboard, if we refresh the dashboard, we'll see that that color selection will persist because it has been encoded into the URL for this edit view of the dashboard. So again, we still see that purple color here. However, if we went and actually went to dashboards and reopened the visual consistency dashboard, because we didn't save that change, and we're not just reloading the URL, then the color is reset. And so it's no longer that purple. If we wanted that change to actually persist, we would need to, again, go to edit mode first, make the change, and then make sure to actually save the dashboard. So now that we've saved the dashboard with this change, even if we reload it, it has been saved in the saved object for the dashboard as a customization to this particular panel. So now this purple color is saved. The other way that we could change this color is we could actually go edit the visualization itself. And to do that, I'm going to, I could pick it from any of these panels, but I'm just going to do it from the middle one. Here, we can do the same thing. We can use the legend color picker. And in this case, let's set it to orange. And we're going to save and return. And now you can see that these two panels, because I made the change to the visualization and that that color is specified on the visualization itself, both of these panels updated. This panel didn't update because the color selected in the panel customization that we did when we saved the dashboard overrides the color selection on the visualization, which is this orange that we picked. So that's all well and good. You can imagine, though, that this is a really tedious process to go through if you have lots of colors. So if we wanted to customize all the colors on this area chart, for instance, we would have to pick each of these one by one. So one of the downsides today is that customizing colors tends to be very manual. There is, however, a shortcut way of doing it, or not really a shortcut, but an alternative, which is in the advanced settings. We go to dashboard management and settings. There's this visualization color mapping setting, and it doesn't really tell you how to use it, but it says that there's color map values can be mapped to specified colors. The way that this actually works is this is just a JSON object with key value pairs where the key is the legend label. So in our case, it was, let me just go back, average bytes, I believe. Yep, average bytes. So to specify that for any visualization that has a series called average bytes, we can set that as the key, and then we can pick some other color. So let's just, in this case, we'll do a red. So this is what this does is whenever any visualization that uses this color mapping functionality, which not all do, will first check to see if there are any matching keys and use that color instead of whatever default is provided. So we're going to save that change. We can go back to our consistency dashboard, refresh. And you can see that in this case, we haven't actually changed any of these visualizations. And the reason is both of these legend picker color selections will override any other selection in the color mapping. But to just prove that this works, if we go to create a new visualization, the histogram, and then our y-axis is going to be average bytes. So I'm basically creating the exact same line chart. Oh, not date range, date history. There we go. Okay, so now you can see that right off the bat, this visualization was created red, which is not one of our visualization colors. The reason it's created as red is because of that setting that we set in the color mapping. So we'll go ahead and save this one. And you say, yeah. And let's go make sure that we add that to our dashboard. Okay. So here's our new chart. Again, it is using red because we didn't do any legend selector overrides. either on the panel or on the visualization. And if we add a second version of line new, we can kind of demonstrate one other kind of surprising aspect of this color mapper. So this is the exact same chart here. And actually, I don't actually want to do that. I want to clone this. So when you clone a panel, what it does is it, instead of referencing the same visualization under the hood, it will actually create a new visualization saved object that's exactly the same as the old one. So that's why this line new copy, if we go to edit it, this is, you can see it's actually a line new copy. It has a different title. And what I was going to demonstrate here is a weird quirk of this color mapping, which is that it is really dependent on the exact label of the axis. So if we changed our legend label from average bytes to AVG bytes to shorten it, notice that our red color went away because this key no longer matches the key in our color mapping. So this is, in my opinion, this is where I'm going to kind of talk a little about like what future direction. In my opinion, this advanced setting is not particularly useful because it's very brittle. It depends on, it doesn't really let you specify color mappings for a particular aggregation or a particular series. It's really specific to just a very particular legend label, which is not very ergonomic. In addition, it's not very useful to like, or usable for users to kind of put in raw color values into a JSON blob. So I don't think it's super useful. I think we can do a lot better, but that's the way that works today. So again, you can see now that we have the same data set that's color customized in a lot of different ways. This one was through the legend on the dashboard panel. This was through, these two were on the legend in the visualization itself. This one was through the color mapping. And this one doesn't get customized by that color mapping because it has a different legend string. Cool. So that was a long explanation. You can see that even though we have these other series that are also average bytes, none of them got affected by our color mapping. So one additional note is that the color mapping doesn't actually affect other visualizations that are not Vislib. So timeline and Vega, because they're expression based, we can see the customization, the color customization for these is much more straightforward. So we can say color red. So explicit color setting in the timeline visualizations are just done through this expression engine. I think we can also, there's ways to also specify colors if you have more than one series. But that's what a basic color customization looks like. Similarly for Vega Lite or Vega visualizations, you can change the color encoding channel. So if we go to this Vega visualization, changing the color is similar. We can, instead of actually using the data, we could just say value. And you can see that's kind of, you can do a similar explicit color settings in Vega visualizations. So those two visualization types don't use any of this kind of like color mapping or legend selector logic. And finally, in TSVB, because it's kind of a different editing experience, it has its own color picker to allow you to choose different colors. So here you can see that there's a color selector you can use to update the visualization to whatever you want. So again, the legend system is really the legacy VisLib visualizations, either created through a specific chart type or through VisBuilder. Okay, we're almost done. The one last thing I want to talk about is, you'll notice from our color mapper, we didn't really have a way to set additional palettes. So again, in this heat map, because it's a VisLib thing, you can't actually set colors the same way, although this is very weird because it means that you can kind of arbitrarily change the color mapping, which is from a visualization perspective, probably not very valid. We would prefer to be able to allow customers and users to specify their own palettes to use, rather than kind of arbitrarily changing each bucket color. And then the final thing to show is the one other kind of weird place that colors can be set is on index patterns. So under index patterns, there is there are certain options to customize fields, and you can choose formatting based on the values that are set. So this color formatting is a kind of a surprising one, where you can basically set ranges and then specify the foreground and background color. So let's set this to foreground text color to green. And we'll do a beige background. Make that a little lighter. And let's actually not do it on bytes, but on the one that I'm using for metrics. Just a second. So one of the things that's a little bit confusing is which things will actually get affected by formatting you set here. The short answer is that it mostly affects various text that use that formatter. So in this case, we have some metrics visualizations that are counting unique visitors of the client IP. So instead of setting this on the bytes field, let me go back and set it on the IP field. Oh, right. I can't set it on that one because it's not a numerical field. Okay, we'll just do it on. Yeah, we'll just do it on bytes. And we're going to set this to, we're going to set one color if it is we'll say one color if it's under 6,000 and one color above 6,000. So we'll say nice and to 6,000. And 6,001 to infinity. Let's do red on same kind of beige color. So if we save this index pattern, and now we're going to have to go create a new visualization. Okay, so here we can see that custom formatting got applied. It's the green one. If we change this to max bytes. It will update to the red one. So this is, again, a kind of a weird thing to be able to do, because normally the way that you would set these color ranges would be through the these kind of range selectors. So let's actually just kind of override this and say, let's say over 0 to, we'll set the same ranges. So we'll say 0 to 6,000, and then 6,000. And you can see that because we've set the index pattern, it's overriding any formatting that we try to use here. The interesting thing is the background still works. So the labels, we can't affect the labels. Let me just make sure I pick let's pick phrase. So the label is basically overridden, but the background, surprisingly enough, is set differently. So we can see that the background of this entire thing is a little bit bigger, and that can still be customized despite the setting. So again, if we go back to average bytes instead, again, the background goes away because it's lower. But yeah, if we go to like yellow versus red, we can kind of see this. So this is, to me, a very weird thing. I don't know. I'd be really curious to hear from the community how many folks use this color formatter for their index patterns, because it, to me, seems very much an afterthought. I don't think it's particularly useful, but I'd love to hear folks that use it a lot and find it really useful, because I think it's something that we would like to definitely improve on in the future. Okay, that was my very long demo. Any questions from those of you on the call? Okay, well, thanks for joining us here today. This will we'll post this on YouTube. And again, if you have any OpenSearch dashboards development questions or challenges, you want to talk about designs, you're working on a plugin, anything like that, feel free to sign up for the office hours through the forum, and join us every other week on Thursdays.